When Helen and Mark first bought the old Victorian house on Cedar Lane, they were enchanted by its charm. High ceilings, original hardwood floors, bay windows, and intricate crown molding. But the house had quirks, small ones at first. A door that stuck in the winter, a radiator that hissed in the night, creaks that sounded like whispers. The realtor had said it was full of history, a gentle warning Helen had ignored. The first night, Helen noticed something strange. The laundry room door, at the back of the kitchen, was slightly ajar. She was certain she had locked it before going to bed. She closed it and went asleep. At 1:17 a.m., she woke to a soft thud. Not loud, not alarming, just present. She froze. The house was silent otherwise. She got up, flashlight in hand. The laundry room door was open. Again. "Mark," she whispered, shaking him awake. "The door, it's open." Mark muttered something and went back to sleep. He didn't hear it. Over the next week, strange things multiplied. Items moved slightly from where she left them. Cold drafts in hallways with no vents. Soft, dragging noises from the floor below. Helen mentioned it casually to Mark one evening. "You're imagining things," he said. "It's an old house. Creaks happen." But Helen knew it wasn't just creaks. One evening, she noticed the basement door in the hallway. There had never been a basement door before. She had studied the floor plans when buying the house. No basement. Yet here it was. A small, nondescript wooden door, painted the same color as the walls. Curiosity overpowered caution. Helen tried the knob. It was locked. No key. Nothing. That night, she woke again to the dragging sounds. They came from behind the locked door. At 2:33 a.m., she could hear it clearly, a soft scraping, as if something were moving heavy objects just out of reach. She called Mark, shaking. "You need to hear this. Please." Mark, tired from work, reluctantly came down the hallway. The door was silent. He frowned. "You're really going to let this keep you up?" he asked. Helen shivered. "It's not imagination. Something's down there." They left it at that, trying to sleep, but Helen stayed awake, eyes fixed on the hallway. The next day, Helen researched the house's history. She found a builder's note tucked into the public record. Partial basement, private access. Do not disturb. No one mentioned it when they bought the house. No inspections had caught it. That night, they set up motion sensors and a baby monitor in the hallway, aimed at the mysterious door. At exactly 12:47 a.m., the monitor picked up movement. A soft, irregular shadow. The sensors detected nothing. Then came the scraping. Slow, deliberate. Something was moving across the floor. Helen could hear faint breaths, like someone, or something, watching her from the other side. Mark finally admitted, "All right, something is down there, but it doesn't make sense. Why would a basement be hidden?" They decided to call a locksmith the next day. When he arrived, he examined the door and shivered. "This isn't just a lock," he said. "It's reinforced from the other side. Someone wanted whatever's in here to stay inside." That night, Helen could barely sleep. She kept imagining hands pressing against the door, soft tapping on the other side, breathing that wasn't hers. At 3:17 a.m., the door rattled violently. A loud thud followed. Then silence. Helen called out. No response. Mark finally got up and grabbed a crowbar. He hesitated, then pushed the door open. The basement was dark, deeper than it should have been. The air was colder. It smelled of damp earth, metal, and decay. Stairs led down into shadow, walls concrete, rough, unfinished. And at the bottom, nothing. Mark whispered, "Stay calm." The shape stood, human-like, but wrong. Thin, arms too long, head tilted unnaturally. It stared at them, and then it smiled. Helen screamed. The thing bolted down a narrow crawl space that had never been on the floor plan. Mark tried to follow. The passageway ended abruptly. Dust covered the floor like no one had walked here in decades. The air shimmered strangely. They returned upstairs, shaking. The basement seemed smaller, normal, empty. No crawl space, no creature. Helen looked at the door. It was still locked. But now, a faint set of scratches appeared near the bottom. Fresh. They realized something horrifying. The house had secrets, and the basement was only the beginning. Mark and Helen barely slept that night. Every creak, every draft, every shadow felt alive. The scratches on the basement door gnawed at their minds. Whatever had been down there, it was still inside the house, or watching from somewhere. The next day, they brought flashlights, cameras, and heavy-duty locks. Helen insisted they had to document everything. If there was something unnatural here, they needed proof before anyone dismissed it. At 11:59 p.m., Helen sat in the living room, notebook in hand, jotting down every strange occurrence since moving in. Mark monitored the basement door. They spoke little, both listening to the normal creaks of the old house, waiting. At exactly 12:03 a.m., the first sound came, a low thump from beneath the floorboards. The lights flickered. Mark grabbed the crowbar, motioned Helen behind him. They descended the stairs slowly. The basement smelled worse than before, damp, metallic, almost like rusted chains. They swept their flashlights across the room. Everything appeared normal: stacked boxes, old furniture, dusty crates. Then the crawlspace. It had opened on its own. Helen's heart raced. Mark signaled to proceed. They crawled into the narrow passage. Dust rose with every step. The air grew colder, almost icy, and their breath fogged the beam of the flashlights. At the end of the crawlspace, they found a hidden chamber. The walls were concrete, slick with moisture. Chains hung from hooks embedded in the ceiling. Strange symbols were etched along the walls, faded and almost erased by time. And there, huddled in the corner, was the creature they had glimpsed before. Its eyes reflected the flashlight beams, large and unblinking. Its limbs were long, gangly, unnatural. Yet, there was something human about it, something frightened. Helen whispered, "It's alive?" Mark knelt slowly, keeping his distance. The thing didn't attack. It just watched. Its breathing was shallow. Soft whimpers escaped its throat. Helen stepped closer, heart pounding. "We won't hurt you," she said. "Do you want help?" The creature flinched at her voice, but didn't move. Its long fingers grazed the floor, dragging lightly, almost as if testing gravity. Mark noticed something: scratches on the walls, messages etched over decades. "Do not forget me. Do not leave me." A horrifying realization struck him. This basement had been sealed intentionally. The house, the crawlspace, the strange noises, they were all containment. The creature, or whatever it was, had been left behind, forgotten, for years, perhaps even decades. Helen stepped closer, her flashlight illuminating its face. And for a brief second, she saw a child. A girl, small, pale, with wide, terrified eyes. Then the features warped again, elongated, unnatural, something neither human nor beast. A sudden gust of wind slammed the crawlspace door behind them. Mark spun, shining his light, but it was gone. No sign of the door, no sign of the chamber. They were back in the basement proper. Helen gasped. It disappeared. Mark shook his head. The house, it's not just old. It's alive. For the next few nights, the basement door moved on its own, opening and closing. The house groaned with hidden voices, whispers, and thumps. Cameras captured fleeting shadows that seemed to breathe. Helen couldn't sleep. Mark barely did. The scratching, scraping, soft crying. They all returned, always near the basement door. One night, determined to understand, they stayed down there for hours. Helen traced the walls with chalk, marking every scratch, every symbol. Mark monitored the air for temperature changes. At 2:17 a.m., they saw it again. The creature emerged from the wall itself, its limbs elongating unnaturally, moving in impossible angles. It stared at them, then vanished through a crack in the concrete, leaving a faint, cold mist. Mark whispered, "It's not in our dimension entirely. It slips through or between. That's why we can't contain it fully." Helen shivered. "Then it's been here forever, trapped, waiting." Suddenly, a soft giggle echoed through the basement. Not menacing, but eerie. Helen froze. The entity reappeared at the top of the stairs, watching, observing. This time, it was calm, almost human. The giggle repeated, then faded, leaving an oppressive silence. Mark and Helen knew they couldn't destroy it. They couldn't contain it. The house had hidden it for a reason. And yet, every night, it would return. They left notes for future owners, hidden warnings in the walls, symbols drawn in chalk, hoping anyone who followed would heed them. But deep down, they knew. Alder Lane's house had a secret that no human could fully understand. Helen whispered into the darkness, "We've seen it. That's all we can do." And somewhere deep inside the walls, a presence listened, patient, knowing that the basement would remain hidden, waiting for the next curious soul. They should have left. That was the thought that haunted Helen the next morning. But something had changed. The house no longer felt like it was hiding something. It felt like it was watching them. Mark began researching the previous owners. The property records revealed an odd pattern. Every 20 to 30 years, the house changed hands quietly. No long-term residents. No recorded renovations. No basement permits. But one name appeared repeatedly in older town archives. Elias Harrow, a builder, late 1800s, known for unusual architectural choices, known for secrecy, known for disappearing. Helen found a newspaper clipping dated 1893. Local builder Elias Harrow suspected in the disappearance of 3 children. No bodies recovered. Her throat tightened. That night, the temperature in the house dropped sharply. Frost formed along the edges of the basement door. The air felt thin. At 3:17 a.m., the door opened slowly on its own. Mark and Helen did not wait this time. They walked toward it together. The basement stairs seemed longer than before. The walls looked older. The concrete appeared cracked, aged far beyond the rest of the house. Halfway down, Helen saw something carved into the wall. Words they had not seen before. IT was never a basement. At the bottom of the stairs, the space had changed completely. The boxes were gone. The furniture was gone. In their place stood a wide circular chamber carved into the earth itself. The concrete was only a shell. Beneath it was something older. Packed soil. Stone. And at the center, a shallow pit. Chains still hung from the ceiling. But now they were moving. Slowly, as if stirred by breath. A soft whimper echoed from the pit. Helen stepped closer, heart pounding so hard it hurt. Mark grabbed her arm, but she pulled free. Inside the pit was not the creature. It was a small wooden door. No handle, no hinges, just a square outline cut into the earth itself. And then the voice came. Clear this time. Not distorted. Not monstrous. A child's voice. Please don't close it again. Helen's knees nearly gave out. The air thickened. The walls seemed to pulse faintly. The chains rattled harder. Mark whispered, "This isn't a room. It's a seal." The truth settled between them. The house had not been built over a basement. It had been built over something else. Something that had been found. Something that had needed to be contained. Suddenly, the creature appeared behind them. But it did not look twisted this time. It looked small, fragile, almost fully human. Its large eyes met Helen's. There was no malice in them. Only loneliness. The child spoke again. "They left me here." The chamber trembled. Mark realized the symbols on the walls were not meant to trap the creature. They were meant to keep something else from coming through that small wooden door. A deep sound rumbled from beneath the earth. Not a cry, not a whisper, a growl, low and ancient. The wooden door in the pit began to push upward from underneath. Something was pressing against it. Hard. The creature turned toward the pit, terrified. It wasn't the monster. It was the lock. Helen finally understood. Elias Harrow had not created a basement. He had discovered a breach, and he had left something to guard it. The child stepped in front of the pit. The growling intensified. The wood began to crack. Mark grabbed Helen. "We have to leave. Now." But Helen shook her head. "If we leave, it opens." The creature looked at her, as if waiting, asking. Helen slowly stepped forward. "I see you," she whispered. The child's form flickered. The growling paused. Helen knelt at the edge of the pit and placed her hand on the wooden door. It was freezing cold. She spoke gently. "You don't have to stay alone anymore." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the pressure beneath the door eased. The growl faded into distant vibration. The chain stopped moving. The chamber exhaled. The creature's body began to soften, becoming more solid, more real. A little girl stood before them, pale, barefoot, quiet. She looked at Helen one last time. Then she dissolved into dust that shimmered in the cold air. The pit sealed itself. The wooden door sank into the earth and vanished. The chamber shrank. The concrete returned. Boxes reappeared. Furniture returned. The basement was normal. Mark and Helen stood in silence. The next morning, the basement door was gone. Completely gone. No outline. No hinges. No scratches. When they checked the original floor plan again, it was exactly as it had always been. No basement. No alterations. Just foundation. But sometimes, late at night, when the house is very quiet, Helen swears she hears something different now. Not scratching. Not dragging. Not crying. Just silence. Heavy. Watchful. As if whatever was beneath the house is still there. Waiting.